Hi, my name is May Palakpak, creator of Fully Housewife, The Wiser Years. Welcome to my Homeschool podcast. In this podcast, my husband Jay and I will be talking about our lifestyle and our journey as a homeschooling family here in the Philippines. We will be talking about what we do and what we do not do, and how we raise and educate our 3 children who happen to be creatives and artists. We will be talking about our wins, our losses, and our mistakes. And we will also be talking to other seasoned homeschooling families to give you a better picture, so other homeschooling families can figure out and customize their homeschool journeys based on all of our experiences. Catch us weekly on Fully Housewife, The Wiser Years Homeschool Podcast. Hi everyone, welcome to the Homeschool Podcast on Fully Housewife, The Wiser Years. Today I have a very special guest. She's my confidante, she's my friend, she's a homeschooling mom of 3 boys, but I think all of them are no longer homeschooling. They're all in traditional schools, and I think Russell is going his own pathway. And what I know her more is that she's more confident about being a child of God and a support to her husband, Yeng Remulla. Welcome, Michelle Remulla. Hello.
Hey, hi May. Hey everyone.
Thank you for agreeing to be interviewed by me. I'm so excited because there's so much to learn from you. For the benefit of those who do not know, Michelle was my biggest inspiration and why we went into homeschooling. It was her child, Trey, who first caught my attention in the way he presented himself at a very young age. Parang kahapon lang yon. But now I heard that he's about to get married, and grabe, I'm so old. But she continues to be an inspiration to me, not just because she's homeschooling, but because of the way she lives her faith. So my
Wow.
question, Michelle, is that did your faith influence your decision to homeschool your children?
Did it? I think it was the first and only basis yet of homeschooling. Because when I became a Christian, so we were in a small church.
Mm-mm.
And I think primarily everybody was homeschooling. So I thought that was just a Christian way to go. Parang I was looking at everyone and everybody was just homeschooling. Maybe there was just like one family
Mhm.
that sent their kids to traditional schools. So I just thought na parang, okay, that's what everybody does. Also looking at the kids the same way, parang the kids who were homeschooled, how well-rounded they were. It
Yeah.
wasn't just about academics, diba? No,
Yeah.
we grew up in that setting na it was just purely about academics, but talagang they were into sports. They were, they spent time as a family. The siblings were best friends. So parang even
Yeah.
if even if it was just Trey at that time, parang that was my dream na the family unit would be that close. And
Yeah.
diba, time is needed for that time, and just I think it was a few years after pa when I realized na parang not all Christians
Because
homeschool.
you were young, right? You were a young
I was
mom. Yeah. When you were homeschooling through the year, how was it shaping your perspective on parenting your children? Kasi they said nga that when you're homeschooling, you're also parenting. You cannot separate the two.
Yeah. There's no mommy hat muna and then I'll remove this and then
Yeah.
there's no like that parang all your emotions are there. I was just reminded of my homeschooling verse talaga, diba? Which is Deuteronomy 6. So you learn the commandments and then you teach them whether you sit, whether you lie down, whether you walk. Or I had to go back to that na parang that's also in parenting eh. Parenting. So we're a parent first and then homeschooling came second. So parang if as a mom, parang I felt I wasn't the best parent during like teaching the books and that. So we had
Hmm.
to teach the books. Because I didn't want my children to remember me as this, parang this traumatic experience na
Yeah.
homeschooling was about. So parang parenting really, parang homeschooling helped me in parenting in terms of being more patient. A lot of moms who wanted to homeschool would say na parang ayoko kasi hindi ako patient. If you realize na, wait, homeschooling first is about me. It's between me and God, me learning how to be patient, And that wasn't every day. and but it's still the application of that. The application of the beauty of, okay, today I can win today as a parent, as a homeschooler. Tapos, and then take it a day at a time na our heart issues as parents. We have to come before God. Learn how to apologize if we lose our cool during a lesson.
Mhm.
So yeah, homeschooling shaped me a lot as a parent, I think.
And in the same way, we set examples also to our children, right? In the way we respond to them and our circumstances when we homeschool them and we go through the challenges. I want to tap more into you being a young mom that time. How old were you when you started homeschooling, Trey?
Officially, parang, it was grade 1 pa at that time. We didn't
Mm,
have to do it for
yeah,
prep. So he would be 5 or
yeah,
6. I was maybe 22, maybe 20 to 23.
yeah,
When,
very young, yeah.
yeah, very young.
Uh-uh.
So the importance of like really learning from all the homeschooling moms. Alam mo yun talagang, I went to their houses. I wanted to check their setups. Like I went to a mom na super like super free. Like their house, like the way they did their lessons, it was like really free. Sometimes in the dining, sometimes in the room, sometimes outside. And then I had a mom who had a homeschool room with all the books lined up.
Yeah,
So I think I was really trying to absorb everything and then learning also my own style and what would work for my family and my
yeah.
kid.
Because you were young and you were, I think we're more vulnerable and more like there's certain things that we go through when we are young, right? Like, kasi we're still in the growing stage. So I was wondering if that posed as a challenge in your
Mhm.
homeschooling setup, or was it like a more of a benefit, an advantage because you were young and you could relate better to your kids?
Mhm. I think it was really looking back, I think it was more of an advantage because I think when you're young, you feel that you know everything.
Yes, oo nga.
I think you feel like you know everything, that you can do anything, you can like even do it better than others. I think, yeah, the foolishness of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it was I think I really just parang head on na parang, okay, this is what everyone does. Okay, I can do it. Parang gano'n.
Mm. What about your children? Have they ever said na, buti na lang, mom, you were young and we could play with
Yeah.
you?
Well, I didn't think they said it before. I think they say it now. Parang they're more appreciative now na parang na we're younger in years compared to their peers' parents. So parang I think they feel now we can maybe relate to them more or understand them more or parang see where they're coming from. Parang ganun. So, yeah.
What was your curriculum? How did you go about with your materials and resources?
Okay, so ganun nga, since we were learning, I think every year for the first, kawawa nga yung eldest kasi syempre he's the trial son.
Big, yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I think we enrolled in every school, tried,
Okay.
tried every curriculum until siguro mga 5, 6 years in na parang, okay. And then we decided with the school that had an open curriculum.
Mm,
So parang, but still had the support. Kasi diba the danger of an open curriculum without the support is that parang,
yeah,
baka I didn't have the self-discipline also to man it that way. So yeah, we did everything from we get from science. We get from Singapore math,
mm,
materials, diba? And then the manipulatives, and then we'll go to the paces, and then
mm,
we'll I'll find out the books that the traditional schools are using, and
mm.
then buy those for 1 year. So yeah, every every curriculum yata.
How was your routine like when they were younger? Was it like you had a schedule set that this is the homeschool time until this time, or was it anything goes anytime they want to take to go through their books, anytime they want to learn the lessons?
Okay, for us earlier in the years, parang I always said nga na parang if you really want to teach your children, even like grade school, parang you
Mm,
don't need a lot of hours, but
mm,
I needed some structure also. So before like the first day of school, of course I'll write down na okay, like we start at 10. We
mm.
10 wanted it to be slow mornings. And I I'm a night person, so I didn't want to wake up. So parang hindi yung parang, okay, everybody wake up, everybody had their breakfast, parang it's more relaxed. So we started at 10 kasi yun yung realistic for us. And then, of course, you write down 30 minutes for this, 30 minutes for this. But of course, it doesn't happen that way. Kasi you can finish, like, if it's like a topic they really like, you can finish, within 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what they want to do. Diba? And then you can just jump to the next subject. So parang there was a base of when we started, but
Mm.
not ended. It's not naman like a classroom na you have to like really waste 30
Yes.
hour in one topic. So if they got it, o the next subject na.
Because we're Christians, a lot of times talagang we are very, very intentional when it comes to the kind of materials that we present to our children, that we expose them to, and even the environment, right? So were you um, into that? I mean, were you more on the conservative, or were you leaning more on the more liberal, exposing them to everything and just processing them through it?
Okay, I think we would be considered more liberal in terms of like exposing in a way na parang these are here, but
Mm,
you have a choice. Or,
mm,
or na if this is what you want to do. And then we would be here to discuss it with you. Because parang for me, like, I all respects to those who are conservative and all, and I think it's a different style of parenting. I know
mm.
of someone like who didn't want TVs in their house because they
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
want to
Mm.
have their kids exposed. But for us, I wanted them to have, okay, this is a TV, this is, but parang we wanted to mold them to be able to choose not to want
Yeah,
these
yeah.
things.
I
So
remember parang sa ano din yan, di ba? When you have like little kids now, you leave the glass, the glass stuff, the breakables
yes,
around
yes,
so that they will learn how to move around it without breaking them and stuff. So basically, it's the same principle, right?
yes, that's right. Because they go to another house and then you'd want them to know na okay, there are things here around, but it's not something that I would necessarily want to do.
What about the friendships? Like, because you live in villages, right? And they had exposure to also to other kids. They have neighbors. Because right now I know that they're more close and connected with people from church. But was it something that you guided them into, or it just happened?
When depends what age eh. Syempre when they were younger, it was easier to control like, 'di ba, who you set play with or who they're exposed to. And then there was a time na, I mean, talagang when they were younger, it was really more of church because you have the homeschool co-ops, you have the friend groups. I think it was like for my youngest, it was when we went to the condo na they had, of course, the exposure of like so many kids around. And parang I think at that time, it was really more of like first like having just being able to listen to them, to their kwento. Parang not to judge a kid also, but to know, oh, but what is it like? What does this kid say? Parang you're not just saying, I don't like your friends. You're giving that, ano, na parang I want to get to know this person first before you set,
Judging. Oh,
uh,
yeah.
yeah. And then you pray.
Yes, yes, there's a lot of praying.
Pray a lot as they get older na they would not want to hang out with kids. Because the moment a parent says, I don't like that friend, parang first you lose your child because they won't tell you about that friend. So that's something we never really said. Pero we prayed a lot. Like if we felt that this kid wouldn't be a good influence.
Mm.
Uh, then yeah, you pray parang sabi ko the battle is really in prayer.
Yeah.
Especially after but puberty, teenage years, the battle is really in prayer because they wouldn't want to hear it from you, eh. They have to hear it from God, they have to experience it themselves, and then they realize na parang, yeah, this is not for me.
But how do you balance that with, because we're parents and we want to be able to guide them. So
Yes.
how do you balance that? You want them to have the right friends.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
But of course, you have to allow them to be their own person.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance that? Do you still talk to them about their friends? Of course, you don't say, I don't like this friend, but do you like talk to them about them?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think asking questions more parang help a lot. Parang you ask
Mm.
more instead of you tell them. So when you're asking kasi, parang it helps them think about that kind of friendship, or helps them, realize na parang, oo nga, no, this is what we do when we're together. This is parang when I'm
Mm.
with this person, it's mostly this. So parang have them, ask them the questions and make them realize na this is not supposed to be.
So hindi ka nagre-react.
Hindi ako nagre-react. So the best parenting advice I've ever heard was from Miss Marie Bonifacio in one of the parenting seminars na I really, really, up to this day, parang if I can, she said, the best thing to do is to not react. And it's so hard. It's so hard. Especially,
Yeah. Oo. Especially when, like as moms, we tend to advocate for our children. As when we feel that they are being abused,
yes,
but
yes.
we want to step, di ba, to step in and stop the abuse, but
Yeah.
but how do you not react? So ako pa naman, I have like subtitles on my face.
Me too! Parang, there are times na I win sa words, talagang parang pero talagang grabe yung face ko talaga. Parang sobrang basang-basa daw. Okay. At saka hindi ko pa na-perfect As in talagang, I still catch myself trying to,
Yeah, yeah.
from that. But not to react in terms of like parang, first when they're telling a story, syempre to just really listen. Kasi the moment you, diba, parang,
Show that you're interested because you're into it. Ako talaga napapaganon. Yeah, he did that.
yeah. So, si Yeng, my husband, would always like, teka lang, ba't tapusin mo yung kwento? Parang ganun.
Ah,
Pero like, yeah, depende, I think, on the age and the emotional maturity of your also, diba? So, parang, especially, pero when they're teenagers, they're so sensitive.
mm-mm,
So sensitive, like, parang, especially friendship, topics,
mm-mm,
crushes, relationships, parang they're so sensitive na any parang reaction na hindi maganda, parang
mm-mm.
it might stop them from trusting us and being able to tell us the stories, ganyan. And then, so after nila magkwento, if it's really something na parang I wanted to react to, talagang parang punta ako sa room, tapos, ganun. Okay, parang, Lord, narinig mo ba yun? Okay, so,
Nung isang gabi, nung isang gabi, I was just listening, ganyan. Oh, so proud of you, ganyan. And then, pagdating sa nung matutulog na, Lord, naiinis ako! Kasi 'di ba, as they get older, our control naturally, like lessens, decreases. Kasi they become their own person. So what were the challenges for you as, like releasing control over their decisions,
that,
over the, yeah.
yeah, a lot of challenges. I think in parenting, parang you expect like a certain way of like, you homeschool them, you're the primary influence in their
Mm.
lives, and you feel that it would be forever like that. And then you realize nga, okay, so puberty comes in, and then the friends have more say or more sway,
Yeah.
influence. So
Kasi
that's why.
kailangan din talaga ng Christian families.
Oo naman. I think, parang, yun nga, I think when you're young, you're blinded when you say na parang hindi nila lumaki yun sa church, parang but they're gonna experience all these emotions, all these emotions. So parang I think, I think first if they know na they can be safe with you, they would still come to you in
Yeah.
times that matter. So sometimes I hear people say na, oh, I know everything. My child says everything to me. Tas, syempre, there's always a doubt in my mind na parang, I don't think so. But I do know now when there are important life decisions or like heartbreaks or like good things, I know they come to us. So parang so we're there when it matters or like kasi nga when they're growing na, especially older teenage, you should be more of a confidant than like a authoritative parent.
Yeah. Any challenges that you encountered that you can share with us?
Okay. I think the first challenge was when to enroll them in a traditional school. So parang I always wanted them to experience some kind of like a traditional setting before they went to college. That was for me. I didn't want the big culture shock na college would bring, di ba? Pero syempre meron pa rin. Pero at least malesen ng konting experience. And so the first challenge was when to send them to regular school. So it had to be me and Yeng and the child all agreeing na it was time. I had a son na sabi ko, hanggang grade 6 lang to. And then ayoko na magturo. Kaya yung math, ganon. And then si Yeng naman, oh, but we can get a tutor. Tama naman. So parang I didn't have to do that. Parang, but we realized na because he was really, really so kind. He's not a people pleaser, but parang he just wouldn't rock the boat. So I felt na parang, not yet this year, not na when he turns first year. Kasi parang I felt na the influence would be too strong on him. Na he wouldn't be able to like really stand his ground and say na parang, I didn't want that.
Yes.
And then I had another son naman na talagang black and white. I mean, talagang super na we knew na he wasn't going to like be influenced and he would be the one to influence. So it was easier to let him go in high school. So, and then Russell, when he said grade 6, he wanted to go to a regular school. Then we also sent him to a regular school. So I think that was the first challenge in homeschool when like parang after all of the other challenges na parang kaya ko ba to and parang I'm not a good enough teacher, I'm not a good enough mother. Parang after all that, it was like, okay, when do we let go? And then in challenges as a parent, madami. Where do we start? I think a lot. I think like parang of course when their ideas already don't parang align with what you think you wanted them. Diba? Parang, na, yun nga, and also the kids parang, because they're so different, you parented them the same way, and same lahat, but they're just so different in their wirings, which is really beautiful. Kasi one strength of another is the weakness of the other. One weakness is the strength of the other. So parang, it's a beautiful thing also how God created our children differently, diba? Even if they're all boys, even if they're all raised, you think the same way. So, challenging yun nga, a lot of like, when there are, like, mag-girlfriend na, diba? Parang, okay. And then when they like or the choice of friendships like or like even just the asserting themselves, asserting what they want. Now you're not used to kasi you're just used to these obedient. So yeah, those are a lot of challenges.
I know that Yeng is very much involved in
Yes.
the entire thing. Like I really don't want to separate the parenting and the homeschooling with you guys, especially you guys, because I've seen it with my own eyes and I know that they're all like together. They're so meshed together. And I was wondering, because he's a businessman, if it had has he involved your children in what he does?
Mhm.
I mean, I know that your children are very much involved in church, right? But what about, we know as Christians, parenting kids and teaching them about God isn't just about reading to them the Bible and bringing them to church, but it's actually showing them how to live life with God, live the realities of life,
Yeah.
applying the principles of the Bible. So I was wondering if like Yeng has taken them with him to these things. How does it work?
Okay, as a businessman, in terms of the influence he has with the kids, it's really, really strong. Like I think when Trey was the eldest, when he was 14, Yang encouraged him to start a t-shirt business.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So he had Trey like come up with a plan, go to the suppliers, and sinamahan namin sila, and then like parang teach them how to deal, teach them how to sell, which is Yeng's, parang he would always say everybody has to learn to sell.
Mm.
But it's either you're selling your idea, you're selling yourself as a performer, you're selling yourself as a product na you believe in. So
Mm-mm.
of us, we have to learn how to sell. So he always tries to teach that to the boys. The youngest naman si Jaden, because he's an artist, so he loves to songwrite. And
Mm-mm.
so what he did, when I think Jaden was, wait, how old is Jaden? Mga 14 or 15, he started to record his first his song on Spotify, and then another song. So we'd invest in that so that they know that this is how it is. This is the business of music and like that. So, and but also like exposing them in terms of like investments,
Mm-mm.
stock market, or
Mm-mm.
business investments like in real estate. So
Mm-mm.
our decision making, na the decisions we made 30 years ago,
Mm-mm.
still reaping the benefits of that now. So that's what he tries to really teach the boys that. Yeah.
Is it like an advantage? I think it's an advantage, right? That you have all these things that you can expose the children to. But what would you advise those who are like they want that for their children, but they don't have it?
Okay, if you don't have that, I think for other kids, na even for my children naman, the things that we don't have, na we want our children exposed to. Parang I always go back to prayer and really pray na God, I pray that you send mentors their way. The mentors that, like maybe if it's like, yun nga, in terms of like music,
Mm-mm.
parang we know a bit, we know of some people, but we're not in the industry. So it's not
Yeah.
something that we can do for them. So my prayer is that God will send people that can see his potential in that and then take him further in
Mm-mm.
career. Or like if my other son is really into basketball now,
Mm-mm.
also that it's like parang the only thing we can do and really invest in is his training.
Yeah.
After that, na parang for professional
Yeah.
mentor to see it in him, to see the talent in him, and then take him further. Also, so whatever it is the others, like the other your children desire, na you don't have the exposure to, then
Mm-mm.
that's what we pray for. It's really
Yeah.
meant. It's either we can learn it, but I think we'll be limited. But if we pray na God will send people their way, then God can do that.
That is the one thing about it that inspires me the most. The put everything in prayer. No, it's true. Because, like I'm a do it mom, like okay,
Ako
let's
na.
sit down. Yeah, let's sit down and plan this. Let's go for it. Like, but one of the things that I learned through the years is that I really cannot control things. Like I am not in charge. And no matter how much I try to involve myself in these things, it's in the end, it's really the Lord that that makes things happen or doesn't make it happen. How does it grow you in faith? Because you every time, like, things that are not in your control, you just say, I pray for it. I pray for it.
Mhm. Mhm.
It grow you as a mom. Because homeschooling, I think, does not only grow our children, it's us too.
Yes,
Yeah. Really the
yes.
whole family that grows along in the process.
It's the only ano talaga. I mean, parang just the faith factor, just really relying on God on anything. Parang that's just really parang how I can be as a mom. But remember, I did become a mom very young. There were a lot of things na I wanted to change in
Mm-mm.
terms of our family structure, diba? And faith was the one. Parang God had to be the one to really teach me how to do that. Kasi I can't eh. Parang limited tayo what we know, what were fears and all that. Parang it had to be talagang laid down at the feet of God na parang God, I really am limited. Like I always tell my children na parang akala niyo lang perfect ako but I'm not so much. So parang and really no, but really really apologize to them. Really like parang in terms of like parang first to see God how he would unconditionally love me and then also be able to unconditionally love my children. And when I'm selfish, I had to go back to God as a parent na parang how is God as a father to us and how I can also be to our children na parang when we feel na conditions have to be met, we can let go of that because it's not the same with God. God doesn't have those conditions. He just loves us first. Yeah, that has grown me a lot as a mom. But I don't think I can be a mom na I am today or without God talaga.
Are you always in the same page with Yeng in terms of homeschooling your kids? Like
Mm,
the direction that your children went. Uh,
mhm.
kasi I cannot say na now in terms of homeschool kasi hindi na ka nag-homeschool, di ba? But during the years that you were homeschooling, were you both always in the same page, going the same direction? Or were there times when he had a different idea from you and you had to sit down and talk about it?
I think when it came to homeschooling, he really trusted me in terms of like the decision making of the homeschooling. Like if I would still homeschool today or like that. It was more of like seeing, I would always call him my principal and not the kid's principal, my principal. Kasi when he would hear that I was getting, high in emotions, ganyan. Talagang pupunta yan ng door, pupunta yan ng room, he'll open the door and he's like, usap tayo. So ako yung pinapatawag sa principal's office. And then he would like always bring me back to the reason of why we're homeschooling. Why are we homeschooling? It's not because of the books. It's not to finish this. It's not for grade standards. It was always for the character. So he would always have to bring me back. So it was more of controlling my my emotions and my standards. But in terms of same page with the boys, I think we had the same idea.
Ah,
Yeah.
was it was the transition to college challenging for you guys, or was it smooth? Because did you do mainstream homeschool, like you did the subjects and all that, follow the curriculum?
Yeah, we loosely followed the curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like math, science, English,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. So I think in terms of like this, the boys going to traditional school, parang in terms of that, I think it was easy naman. Parang they adapted, and
Mm.
it's so funny because they wanted to enroll and join every club, join pageants, join the like the battle of the bands. They just, parang yung desire nila to just be part of that. It was thrilling to see them want to do that. Uh,
Mm.
the proms and all that. Pero in terms of like, I think what they adjusted to was like the waking up time. They had to adjust to like the teachers and like it was a different expectation from them, which I think
Mm.
naman they were gladly parang
Mm-mm.
up with. So parang
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I think that the fear of homeschoolers not being able to adapt well to a traditional setting are actually the fears of people who did not really homeschool their children, because Because so far, from all those that I have talked to about it, there wasn't really that much challenge. In fact, the homeschoolers are actually very excited to do the home, to do the routine, to do the homework, to get to know people,
Yeah.
to be active in school. So yeah, I think that the fear is mostly from those who never really went through it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it really is parang from those who didn't really experience, or maybe they give it a shot, like maybe a year or two. Pero if you look at the all the children who have the ones I know of and the ones you're saying, na parang, they go into school, they're ready, they're excited, and they're
Yeah.
willing to just take it on.
Wala pa ako nakita na, well, not so much on, ang nakita ko lang na hindi ready was this one person, but not really because hindi siya ready,
Yeah.
but because she has some health conditions that she has to consider. Pero other than that,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it comes to like the academics, the extracurriculars, the social life, which is like the number one until now from kopong-kopong pa, it's always like, paano ang socialization? And until now, like, I've never seen a homeschooler like have a problem with that. I mean, I thought at some point that my children were like challenged in that because of the pandemic, right? But the challenge actually was just really finding the right people to connect with. And it wasn't really because uh they were not that they didn't practice their social skills. It wasn't that. It was really because they couldn't find anybody the same,
Yeah.
the same interest as they do. And now that I see them in, for example, my 15-year-old is with a victory group in Las Piñas, and
Okay, good.
he loves hanging out with them, and he goes there every week, and he enjoys the company. And also my son, when I threw him into the eldest son, not through, but
Uh,
when he auditioned for the show that he's in right now, and he naturally connected with these people. So I think that that is really such an unfounded fear for
for the socialization.
schooling, the socialization. Because nga, like, I want you to talk about that. Like, kasi di ba sinasabi, it's always been a principle. It's been taught to us when we
Yeah.
were starting out by the pioneers, that it really starts, socialization really starts within the home.
Yes.
You like explain in a way through your experience how that helps them
Mhm.
in socializing with other people.
I think in terms of like a traditional school, of course, your kid would be with their age group for like 8 hours a day, diba? And then that's what they're used to. They're used to talking to that particular age group for the whole year. But in terms of homeschooling, kasi we're so exposed, or we hope na our kids or other homeschoolers are also exposing them to multiple homeschool groups and multiple like children, and cultures. So parang I really wanted like us to, even at when they were young, we'd like, just go out of town and just really observe and see and just, interact with other people, talk to adults. Like there's no like kids table here and then the adults here.
Yeah.
Parang we want them to converse with the adults. We want them to converse with older people, younger people. So you'd see how much they also love younger children and how they play with younger children, how they interact. You see how they're asking questions of investments from other people and how this person is successful in this area, and then they're just listening there and absorbing everything. And I think that makes them very confident. Actually, 'di ba, parang there was a time na parang sabi ko, ay problema pala when they're overconfident in talking to
Yes, oo.
kasi
Oo.
like, parang sabi ko parang baka it will come out as rude. Because
Yeah, it does.
true.
It does. For
Yeah.
those who are used to the traditional setting, it comes off as rude. I actually had someone talk to me
Hmm.
uh to tell Pablo to pull back, pull back, and instead of like, like discussing, because they were overwhelmed that he was vocal about his ideas about the lessons.
Yeah. So I think yun yung ano, parang I think they get a bad rep na for that because of parang others it's the adults who are not used to it.
Yeah,
Di ba?
yeah.
Like, when one of my sons went to regular school, he would really ask the teacher, like, why is it like this? Or like really question because he wanted to understand. It was
Yes, yes, yes.
nothing to be rude, pero yun nga, because they're so confident in every relationship, every like parang age group bracket. So parang the approach would be like, socialization, like parang it's for everyone. It's not just because when you go into like your career or like a job,
Mm-mm.
not naman in your same age group eh.
Are
You're
you
in,
gonna go around asking them what's your age?
yeah,
Di ba? Yeah.
yeah. You have to have the confidence too and like the EQ or social, I don't know, to be able to talk to multiple ages.
Yeah. That is actually one of the memories I have of Trey.
Oh, okay.
How he spoke to the adults. Of
Hmm.
course, it didn't come off as rude to me. It was really impressive that he was young. I think he was 6.
Oh,
He was discussing something with, I think it was you first, and then he was talking to another tita.
okay.
Uh, I don't know if it was Ayesha or our friend from Japan.
Hey,
Kay, si Kay. So I was like, oh, okay, I like the way this kid is. Like he can simply answer their questions because I know one of the things that I grew up with is the environment where children tend to shrink from adults that would ask them questions, especially if it's like a question that they'd find it intimidating. And with Shay, he didn't. He simply answered, and that was the one thing that said, "I want that. That's the thing that I want for my children." So hindi ko talaga makalimutan yon. Like, especially when I saw that he was already engaged. Like, oh, hapon lang. He just came to the room. It's in Westgate. Nasa likod kami, nagdadaldala ni Michelle habang meron.
at saka, diba,
Habang meron nagsasalita sa harap.
parang, he's engaged to a fellow homeschooler. I mean, diba, classmate niya when he was 11. So, parang, yeah, that's just amazing.
Yes, oo, 'di ba? Katuwa. Okay. So, can you share one significant moment in your homeschooling
Okay.
that you just really saw? Because you have a lot of these stories, and I want my audiences to hear at
Mhm.
least one of these stories that
Okay.
you saw. It was like a moment in your homeschool journey that you
Yeah.
saw the hand of God at work.
Wait, there's so many. There's just not one moment, I think. I think I want to share, like, when it came to Russell. Russell is my son with special needs. Uh,
Mhm.
when he was first diagnosed, of course, the doctors and they all told me to put him in a regular school so that he would be more exposed socially, right?
Mhm.
So he went to school during kinder 1 and kinder 2.
Yeah.
So by until prep. And then so grade 1, so by the time we wanted to enroll him in grade 1, parang Yang and I had a discussion na parang I was so fearful of, like, even if it was a school that had an inclusion program, they were I would observe like other kids getting bullied or like getting laughed at. And then I remember praying na parang really praying na parang could I homeschool Russell? Because
Mhm.
he did have special needs. So parang I felt na I was inadequate. Kasi parang, di ba sa homeschooler, you already feel inadequate for your kids. And
Mhm.
then here with the special needs kid, parang like, could I really do this? And then, but Yang sat me and really said na parang, love, you're the one who truly knows him, how he would learn, what his interests are, and then take it from there. So parang that really took me na parang as a parang, okay, God, I'll take this challenge. And then, like, really, like, parang, okay, God, parang, how do I do this? But of course, with the help of, like, therapists, like, he was still in therapy at the time. So I'd observe how they would teach and then, like, apply it with him. And then we were, just to see him and, like, really interact with his brothers. Because there was a time that they were all still in homeschooling at the same time. So parang the interaction, he was really like enjoying himself and learning a lot and really, good in math and his handwriting, even how he writes. So
Mm-mm.
parang that was really like parang a God moment na parang, as a mom, we could really teach our children
Mm-mm.
regardless of like if we know them, if you love them first, then you could really be able to teach us well. So yeah, that's a God moment for us.
One of the things I admire about your parenting and homeschooling style is that hindi talaga, it's really centered on on God. And I want to know, what would you advise other families? How do we grow our children into Bible believing, Bible practicing Christians as they transition to a life beyond homeschooling?
Mhm. Okay, I think, teaching them to love the word first, it has to come from you. They have to see it. They have to see it. Parang okay, when it comes to like the Bible subject, I wasn't really following the curriculum of our Bible subjects in our homeschooling because I didn't want Bible to be a subject. I wanted Bible to be like really real in their lives. So,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
it's not something na I wanted them to be religious about.
Yes, yes.
So,
Mhm.
parang first and foremost, my job was to grow my faith first,
Mm-mm.
and then them see that.
Yeah.
See that. So when I read my Bible, when I do my quiet time, and parang it's sometimes I'm in the room and like it's just really me and the Lord. Di ba? May moments na ganon. But other times I'm around the house, just
Mm-mm.
just reading, opening, or like praying, and like and if it can't be just that, also they have to hear it from you. They have to see it in you. And that's years di ba?
Mm-mm.
Years and years of like really ingraining in them. This is how we're living life. And this is how we hope you're living life. Because
Mm-mm.
at the time na we're not there,
Mm-mm.
only God can be the one to guide you.
Yeah.
So parang, and it's His word na you can trust. So yeah, that's how I mean, even up to now, syempre like when you grow up, when our children grow up and you realize na parang, okay, is my God their God as well?
Yeah.
Is my love for the word theirs also, or is it, because I never wanted it to be na, did you read your Bible? Or like,
Mm.
ano, na parang,
Yeah.
what did you read? So parang I hope and pray na it's something that they're caught and they really see na, and they experience themselves na okay, na parang this is, but of course exposure,
Mm-mm.
we're exposing them, diba? Church, Bible studies, and all the victory groups and mentors. Now
Mm-mm.
we can expose them to, pero they have to see it at home. They have to really, know na it's not something that we just put on every Sunday or like ano. So, and now seeing them, I think that is the greatest joy, May. When you open the door, diba? And then you see them reading. Which I know you also post sometimes, diba? You open the door and you see them reading the word, and or you hear something that it's not verbatim, it's not like a quoted verse, but it's a verse, it's biblical, and you
Mm-mm.
hear it from them in
Yeah.
their parang, okay, Lord, we're doing something right in terms of that.
Ako rin kasi alam mo, I waited for so long for that to happen too. Kasi Lucas and Judah, it's a habit.
Hmm.
With the eldest, it's a reminder.
Yes, yes. We all need reminders.
Yeah. When was the last time you read your Bible or something? Especially when you notice that when they're discouraged or demotivated. So the question always is, when was the last time you spend time with God? When was the last time you read the Bible? But it was this one day that we were talking about career, and he suddenly quoted the Bible to me. And it's new for me. Because I remember before I'd be the one saying, telling him about the Bible. And he'd say, is that really from the Bible or is that just you? May mga ganun siya. The thing about me is I remember the verse. I don't remember the where. So I have to find it pa, Google it pa. So I could actually tell him, it's this one. It's real. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it, not me.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to control your life. When he said it was such a joy,
Yeah.
such a joy to hear him tell me this is what I've been reflecting on, mom. And then because he's into Proverbs right now, like he's really reading it over again, reflecting on it. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, wow, Lord, may bunga na.
Meron yan. At saka alam mo, yung parang we really just have to trust God to speak to them. Kasi
Yes,
we have to say it eh.
yes.
Parang like, I have to say it. Kundi hindi niya, baka may excuse na, you never said it. God is also their God. So, parang there are so many times na kaya ako napipigilan yung sarili ko not to react is because I know God has them. I know God will, be able, and it will be a more powerful or more moving
Yeah.
when it comes from God kesa mom said.
Yeah. So we're almost about to wrap. Since you started out as a young mother, is there any advice you'd like to give other young mothers who are contemplating on whether they should homeschool their children and they feel inadequate?
Mhm. I think the advice would be, get mentors also, get people who can journey with you in schooling. Because every year, I'd think na parang I can't do it. Lalo na pag, testing season. Like when they have their like exam week or like the final grading. And then parang I feel I can't. And then because you have such a good influence of like other homeschoolers also. And then, you're not alone in the journey. And then you're not alone with your feelings of inadequacy. And then you can just discuss that and then encourage each other for another year. And then, okay, in homeschooling, Yeng and I would always say na parang, we homeschool a year at a time. We never wanted the pressure of like, oh, kailangan until grade 6 or kailangan until high school. We just took it a year at a time. So take it a year at a time, really ask God, and then ask God also for the right homeschool group, right co-op, find that. And then that will be kasi your strength in a lot of times. And then also your why. Why are you homeschooling? So for us, it was really to be the primary influence of our children. If they had any questions, if it were about sex or about God or about like anything, we wanted to be the first to answer. So we want our another why would be the character. Na we really wanted to just really um have that character based on God and what God wanted for them. So go back to those whys. Kasi the academics, parang, and the socialization is not true.
Not.
The issues are not true. You will raise confident children and like go-getters and really people who know who they are before the world tells them who they are. So yeah.
Thank you so much for the interview. I love everything that you said. Sarap. I'd like to thank everyone for being here and for meeting my friend Michelle. Now you understand why I always come to her. I do. I come to her every time I'm seeking guidance in certain things in our lives and especially with my children. Thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you, May. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed reminiscing.